Welcome back to our news bulletin. The U.S. has reported record new cases of COVID-19 with over 52,000 people testing positive in the past 24 hours. 706 more people have died in the country, taking the tally to over 128,000. In Brazil, 1,016 people lost their lives overnight, with the death toll crossing 60,000. The virus has so far killed more than 515,000 people worldwide and infected 10.6 million. Further details in this report.
The second wave of the new coronavirus has caught many countries off guard as they were trying to put stagnated economies back on track. North and South America are now accounting for around 100,000 new cases of the disease every day. Brazil, Mexico, Colombia are the worst hit in Latin America, while the US states of Arizona, California, Florida, and Texas reported record spikes. California's governor has banned indoor activities at restaurants, movie theaters, and other facilities for at least 3 more weeks.
Bottom line is the spread of this virus continues at a rate that is particularly concerning. We're seeing parts of the state where we are seeing an increase in not only the total number of positive cases, but a significant increase in the total number of people that are getting tested that are testing positive.
Meanwhile, Australia continues to struggle to contain new outbreaks despite suburban checkpoints by the police. Japan too is grappling with COVID's second coming after Tokyo confirmed more than 100 new infections, the highest daily tally in 2 months. The World Health Organization says nations who fail to use every mechanism available to combat the still raging coronavirus will struggle to beat it.
We're concerned that some countries have not used all the tools at their disposal and have taken a fragmented approach. These countries face a long, hard road ahead. But one of the lessons of the pandemic is that no matter what situation a country is in, it can be turned around. It's never too late.
In Asia, China appears to have put a lid on its second wave as only 3 new cases were reported in and around Beijing. Meanwhile, South Korea has reported 54 new cases as the second wave continues to spread beyond the capital region and reach cities like Gwangju.
Meanwhile, in Pakistan, 78 more people have died of COVID-19 in the past 24 hours, raising the toll to 4,473. The Ministry of Health says over 4,300 new cases were detected in the last 24 hours, taking the tally to over 217,000. The Health Ministry said more than 104,000 people have recovered from the virus so far, making it a significant count. It said more than 2,700 patients across the country are critical. The province of Sindh is badly hit by the virus with nearly 87,000 infections, while Punjab has reported nearly 78,000 cases. In northwestern Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the tally of patients is nearly 27,000, while there are nearly 11,000 cases in Balochistan. The capital city of Islamabad has reported over 13,000 cases, while Azad Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan have over 2,600 cases. At least 96 people have died after a landslide caused a jade mine in collapse in Myanmar's Kachin state. Rescue officials say several others are still missing. The fire service said the miners were collecting stones in the jade-rich Hapakant area when a muddy wave caused by heavy rain buried them. It said there is an unknown number of people still buried under the mound of refuse. Deadly landslides and other accidents are common in the poorly regulated mines of Hapakant. Now, the U.S. House of Representatives has approved new Hong Kong-related sanctions after Beijing introduced a new security law for the region. The measure, which was passed unanimously, penalizes banks that do business with Chinese officials. The proposed sanctions will have to be approved by the Senate and the U.S. President before coming into effect. UK Prime Minister Boris has offered up to 3 million Hong Kong residents the chance to apply for full British citizenship. Australia's Prime Minister Scott Morrison also said proposals to offer safe havens to Hong Kong residents will be considered by the cabinet. China claims a security law is necessary to stop violent protests that have unfurled across Hong Kong since June 2019. Turkey has criticized U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's remarks on the country's iconic Hagia Sophia Museum. In a statement, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hami Aksoy said Ankara is astonished by the press release issued by the U.S. State Department. The statement said Turkey protects all of its cultural assets, including Hagia Sophia, without any discrimination. It said any issue regarding Hagia Sophia is Ankara's internal affair. Yesterday, Pompeo urged Turkey to maintain the status of Hagia Sophia in Istanbul as a museum. He cautioned that a change in its status would diminish its legacy. Hagia Sophia was the main cathedral in Christendom for 900 years before becoming a mosque for 500 years until 1934. In Ethiopia, the death toll from protests that follow the murder of famed musician Hachalu Hundessa has risen to 82. Regional police said the dead include 78 civilians and 3 members of the security forces. Dozens others were wounded in violent ethnic clashes in Addis Ababa and the surrounding Oromia region. Police used tear gas to disperse the crowd outside the hospital, and gunshots were heard in the city where people set fire to tires. Leading opposition politician Jawar Mohammed was also arrested in a move that may inflame protests further. In a televised address, Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed called the murder an evil act backed by domestic and foreign enemies. In Mexico, 24 people have been killed in an armed attack on a drug rehabilitation facility in the central city of Veracruz. Police said the gunmen also wounded 7 others. Police said 3 of the wounded are in a critical condition. They said the rehab center was not formally registered. Guanato's Attorney General Carlos Amarripa said he has designated a specialized team to probe the incident. The attack is one of the worst mass slayings since President Andrés Manuel López Obrador took office 19 months ago. It was also the second such attack in Veracruz in a month. In another news, Mexico has praised the new North Atlantic Trade Pact between the U.S., Mexico and Canada. U.S. President Donald Trump replaced the former trade agreement between the countries, the NAFTA, with USM. President Andrés López Obrador said the accord will attract foreign investment and allow economies to recover from COVID-19 recession. In a speech marking his second term, President Obrador said the new agreement will create jobs and curb unemployment in Mexico.
Por mandato popular.
Today's trade agreement between Mexico, United States, and Canada took effect at an opportune time because being neighbors with the strongest economy on the planet in the current circumstances of global recession of the economies will help us boost our productive activities and create new jobs. This is the main reason for my next trip to the United States of North America and my meeting with President Donald Trump. It is a fact that the treaty will attract more foreign investment.
The coronavirus pandemic has hit Mexico hard, and forecasters expect the economy to shrink by 10% or more this year. Now, in another news, the Arab coalition has started a military operation against Yemen's Houthi rebels after the stepped-up attacks on Saudi Arabia. Saudi state media said the coalition will hold a news conference on the developments soon. And Yemen Houthi media reported coalition airstrikes on the capital Sana'a, Marib, and other parts of the rebel-held territory. Last week, the rebels fired missiles that reached Riyadh in the first such assault since a 6-week ceasefire expired in late May. The coalition said it intercepted the attack. In Syria, Turkish and Russian troops have conducted their 19th joint patrol in northwestern Idlib province. The patrol is being conducted in line with the Moscow agreement. In a statement, the Turkish Defense Ministry said the patrol was carried out by air and land vehicles. The patrol covered the M4 highway, which connects the cities of Aleppo and Latakia. The two countries agreed on a protocol which urged parties to cease military action along the line of contact in the Idlib de-escalation zone. The protocol said the joint patrol will be done from Tromba settlement to Ain al-Havr settlement. Idlib has long been under siege by Assad regime forces and its allies, and previous ceasefires for the region were affected by violations. France's Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian says new sanctions on Turkey may be considered. He said the European Union foreign ministers will meet on July 13th to discuss Ankara. At a parliamentary meeting, Le Drian said sanctions have already been taken on over Turkey's drilling in the Cyprus Economic Zone. Meanwhile, the foreign minister expressed concern of the crisis in Lebanon and said social discontent could lead to an escalation in violence. Referring to recent interreligious violence in Lebanon, the minister called on Beirut to implement reforms. The French foreign minister said he will travel to Beirut soon to convey his message to the authorities. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan will visit Qatar today in his first overseas tour since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. In a statement, the Ankara's Communications Directorate said Erdogan will meet Qatari Emir Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. The statement said the two leaders are expected to discuss relations between the two friendly countries. It said they will also exchange views on regional and international issues. Erdogan's visit comes at a time of heightened tensions in the region. Qatar is Turkey's ally in the Libyan front as well as the Syrian conflict. We're now taking a short break, but stay tuned for more news. Welcome back. Russia has paved the way for President Vladimir Putin to stay in power until 2036 by voting overwhelmingly for a package of constitutional changes. Official results of the nationwide vote show Putin won the right to run for presidential office for 2 more terms. The Central Election Commission said with over 99% of votes counted, the majority has supported changing the constitution. It said 78% of voters favored the reforms, while 21% voted against them. Head of the commission, Ella Pamfola, said the vote was transparent and officials had done everything to ensure its integrity. Meanwhile, the opposition has called the vote an illegitimate and illegal show designed to legalize Putin's presidency for life. At least 8 mortar rounds were fired in Logar as President Ashraf Ghani led a high-level delegation to his home province in Afghanistan. No casualties have been reported so far. Mortars were also fired when Ghani's helicopter departed the area after delivering this speech. Speaking at an event in Logar, President Ghani vowed to mend the fragile security situation and bring peace to the war-torn country. The province of Logar is considered one of the most insecure regions in the country. U.S. Special Envoy for Afghan Reconciliation, Zalmay Khalilzad, has thanked Pakistan for its ongoing efforts to advance the peace process. The U.S. Embassy in Islamabad says this was conveyed to Pakistani leadership during Khalilzad's recent visit. Ambassador Zalmay Khalilzad and U.S. International Development Finance Corporation CEO Adam Boehler visited Islamabad on July 1st. The U.S. delegation met Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa, Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, and other senior officials. In a statement, the American Embassy in Islamabad said stakeholders are extremely close to starting intra-Afghan talks. It said they are also aware of the importance of resolving the remaining issues quickly. Boehler discussed investment opportunities to strengthen Pakistan's economy and contribute to peace and stability in the region. In Indian-occupied Kashmir, extrajudicial killings have become a new norm as 175 civilians were martyred in the first half of this year. Reports compiled by Indus News reveal that the Indian military carried out 107 operations in occupied Jammu and Kashmir. During the illegal cordon and search operations, at least 48 structures have been destroyed so far in 2020 alone. There were 55 instances of internet blockades recorded in the last 6 months. Media personnel in occupied Kashmir suffered intimidation and harassment by Indian authorities, with several incidents involving the beating of journalists. The occupied valley has been under a crushing lockdown and communications blackout for the past 333 days. In India, the COVID-19 infections have now surpassed 600,000 with nearly 18,000 deaths so far. Officials say 434 deaths were reported in the past 24 hours. The Health Ministry said the increase in cases presents a severe challenge for India's overburdened healthcare system. Amid rising coronavirus infections, India announced another phase of easing restrictions called Unlock 2 on Monday. This would allow for more economic activities to resume. Experts say the number of cases in India could surpass 1 million before the end of July. New Zealand's Health Minister David Clark has resigned after criticism of the government's response to COVID-19 and his own breaches of lockdown rules. He said continuing in his role was distracting from the government's overall response to the pandemic. The former minister said he takes full responsibility for decisions made and taken during his time as the Minister of Health. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has accepted Clark's resignation. Ardern said public confidence in the leadership is essential, which Clark lost due to his actions and lapses. Education Minister Chris Hipkins will take charge of the health department until the country's elections in September. Assistant Professor of Global Health Policy at the London School of Economics, Dr. Claire Wenham, found herself juggling work and childcare live on television. Wenham was being interviewed on the subject of local lockdowns in England when her daughter Scarlett appeared on the screen. Scarlett asked, "What's his name? What's his name, Mummy?" and held a picture of a unicorn. Having received the answer she was looking for and having spoken to the journalist herself, Scarlett returned to the task of finding a spot for her unicorn picture. Stocks in the Asia-Pacific have edged up following positive news about the development of a potential COVID-19 vaccine. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index is leading the gains regionally, rising almost 1.5%. Mainland Chinese stocks also saw gains, with the Shanghai Composite rising over 1%. The Shenzhen component also added nearly 1%. Japan's Nikkei 225 rose fractionally, while the Topix Index advanced marginally. South Korea's Kospi gained nearly 1%. Meanwhile, Australia's S&P ASX 200 jumped over 1.5%, while overall the MSCI Asia ex-Japan Index gained over 1%. Now let's look at the weather from around the globe. This is all for now. For the latest updates, you can follow us on social media at Indus.in.